Welcome to Dory Cote on Shamanism, a weekly podcast that explores one theme in shamanism throughout each month. Get comfortable, have a seat, and let's get started.
Welcome to episode 42 of our podcast. This time we are going to talk about children and power animals and the relationship between them.
Dory, I've heard it said that power animals are often very special to children and that they sometimes have experiences that are amazingly unique and transformational. Can you share more about why this is so?
Absolutely. I describe the relationship between children and their power animals as pure magic. It is such an amazing honor to witness the unfolding of how a child embraces the presence of an unseen friend, an unseen companion, a power that is outside of themselves, that is friendly and helpful and warm and protective. And it doesn't matter what the age of the child is. In fact, the same is true for adults, but this podcast is about children. I've experienced children from age 3, when they can understand the concept of a power animal, to, well into their teens, as literally glowing with the joy of having the knowledge that there's a particular power animal that is with them specifically. It's their personal private friend. And the transformation that takes place as this child or young person develops this relationship with the power animal is really inspiring and awesome, because children embrace the presence of the power animal and utilize it in a way that often adults they'll resonate with the concept, and they might have images of their power animal around them and so on, but they don't necessarily relate in the same deep way as children. Children take this very seriously. And so if I make the suggestion to a child that their power animal is with them, and when they go to bed at night, will be guarding the room, will be keeping them safe from harm or from bad dreams or from anything such as that, the child really embraces that. And the transformation that I hear takes place from parents who are reporting back to me is just amazing. Like a child who has had nightmares, or a child who won't go to bed because they're terrified that there is some intrusive energy in their room, and it keeps them from being able to either fall asleep or stay asleep. Or children who are having trouble at school with bullying or with an overwhelming amount of energy or similar things. The parents report back to me the ways in which a child has taken the presence of the power animal and worked with that presence, with the realness of the presence of this power animal, and it creates amazing changes in how a child is able to cope and ground themselves in the experience of everyday life without fear or anxiety or other, intrusive kinds of energies. And, it doesn't take. And the other piece here is that I don't want to say that power animals only work with a child if a child has some kind of presenting issue. Power animals are pure magic to any child, regardless of whether they're having any kind of current difficulties in their lives. They truly help to empower a child, which is really why they're called power animals. It's about what power does the presence of this unique, unseen animal bring to this child, and how is the child going to use that power. So sometimes children use it to help them with their homework, or to help them resolve a conflict they have with a friend, or a multitude of ways. But, all I can say is that it is transformational. And I can honestly say I've never had a situation that I know of where a child has not embraced a power animal and has not had some kind of transformational experience as a result of it.
A parent has written to you expressing concern that their child will be shamed or ridiculed by their peers or maybe by the teacher or other adults about their deep connection with this invisible spirit animal. What can you say to caring adults about how to help a child navigate these possibilities? And how can a parent be helpful in coaching their child about staying safe from bullying or ridicule about this?
Yeah, that is a really, really great question, because we do live in times where children are relating with other children and also with adults, including teachers and other caregivers, who may not share the beliefs about the unseen or the presence of spirit animals. And so depending upon this particular family's structure and, whether the child's other parent or other caregiver or larger family, such as older brothers and sisters or aunts and uncles or teachers or others, might be hesitant or curious or even concerned about the child having this invisible playmate or power animal, really has to be addressed on an individual kind of basis, as I said, depending upon who is this child relating with. So often what I say to a child, if I know that they're going to be going into a situation where they might be ridiculed in some way, is that this is a very private relationship, that it's unique, that they have a power animal, and that not all the children who they relate with or all of the grown-ups that they relate with might have a power animal or even understand what a power animal is. And so, that they can talk about it if they feel safe, but if they don't feel safe talking about it with another adult or another child, that's perfectly okay, that they can keep it to themselves, that this is a power that is unique to them, that this owl or this bear or this fox or this deer or this kangaroo that has come to them is unique to them and can be held close to their own heart and does not have to be shared with others. And so, what I'm saying in summary is that each situation is unique. It somewhat depends upon the age of the child and who is in this sphere of influence. Who are they spending time with? And, will there be any concern that? And the parents can help with that, So when I coach the child, I also am, of course, coaching the parents about how they can help work with their child to keep them safe from any potential ridicule or questioning about whether the child is having a psychological problem because they have an invisible friend.
Have you ever had a situation where a child also needed other interventions by a psychologist or other professionals to help overcome fear or anxiety? And how would you handle that if it were to occur?
Yes, that is a fabulous question. Of course, shamanism is a spiritual healing tool. We work with the spiritual dimension of what is broken in someone's life or what is not whole in someone's life. It does not exclude the possibility that a person might need other help on the physical plane or on the emotional, mental plane. So the same is true with adults. If an adult has diabetes and they come to see me as a shamanic practitioner, I can work with what is happening on the spiritual plane that might be leading to them having, diabetic episodes, or might have some root to the cause of the diabetes in their lives and so on and so forth. But it doesn't mean that that person should stop taking their insulin or seeking medical attention for this dis-ease. So the same is true with mental or emotional disorders, and that holds true for children as well. If a child has had severe trauma of some kind, and I have worked with children who have, witnessed the murder of a parent, or have come from another country where they have been under tremendous stress because of war and genocide happening in their midst, then that child may also need, beyond the power animal and other shamanic healing processes that we might do together, they may also need the help of a child psychologist or a guidance counselor at school, or a counselor who specializes in PTSD, for instance. So I tend to work hand in hand with other providers of help for children, and would never exclude the possibility that there is a need for some other help along the way, either physical, emotional, or psychological. I think it is a fallacy, and actually a very slippery slope for any practitioner of shamanism to believe that they are the be-all and end-all and the answer to all things, because we are body, mind, spirit, and what the shamanic practitioner is working with is the spirit. And so at the same time, the body and the mind have to be along on the trip, or what is done on the spiritual plane will have some positive impact, but not necessarily address all the issues that are going on.
This completes our questions on the issues of children and power animals. Is there anything else you would like to add at this time?
Yes, I would like to go back to the first question and say, why is it that that children experience this most amazing transformational shift as a result of knowing who their power animal is and then relating with their power animal? And, I would say here that, children are just so pure, so innocent. They haven't had, for the most part, depending on their circumstances, but for the most part, they're not engaged in, a lot of heavy mental activity. They're not having to worry about paying the mortgage or balancing the checkbook or concerning themselves with so many other aspects of the things that adults have to deal with every day. So the magic is so available to them, and they truly take it and they work with it. It's like putting fairy dust in their hands, and they're able to really not just see the fairy dust, but actually experience it on all levels. And for that reason, I believe, children are able to really absorb the truth of the power animal experience in ways that is unique to the child, and as a result works very deeply and very swiftly to create positive changes in the child's life. Other than that, I have a lot more that I could say about power animals and children, and there would never be enough time in a podcast to address it all. But, over time we may talk more about the whole concept of power animals and how they work with people in general.
Thank you for listening to Dory Cote on Shamanism. We'd love to hear your thoughts, stories, reactions, and questions. Come on over to dorycote.com and join the conversation. And tune in next week for more on this subject, or next month for a new subject. You can subscribe to this podcast in iTunes, or sign up on dorycote.com to receive notices when the podcasts are posted. That's Dory, D-O-R-Y, and Cote, C-O-T-E.com. Drumming and rattling by Dory Cote and Terry Morgan. Technical assistance and audio production by JillHackett.com. And this is Susan Savelle, wishing you many blessings in your life. We hope to have you join us next time.